You don't need to hold on any longer, folks, because we are back on Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS. It's the Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John, the radio digest version of the Santa Clarita Gazette and Free Classifieds for all you need to know to be in the know.
See, now, Doug, you're too calm.
I know.
We need to call on our buddy Jim, the thorn in your side.
Wait. It's been a while since he's been on, isn't it?
It has been a while since.
I think I remember this guy.
He's.
This guy got my blood pressure boiling. Did he not?
Good. It's good for your heart.
Seemed like a nice guy, but
this is like high intensity interval training.
Jim, are you there?
Sir, yes, sir.
There you go.
Jim, how you doing, buddy?
Very well, sir. How are you doing today? And why do I make your blood boil?
I don't know. It's just something about you. Don't take it personally.
Because he likes. He doesn't like to be wrong.
A fine lover of the Constitution like me makes your blood boil.
Yeah, no, it's just some of your viewpoints, but that's okay, Jim.
But we were gonna
let's wipe the slate clean. See how we can do today.
All right. So, what topic should we discuss first, gentlemen? Let's talk. Ferguson.
I'm very sorry to say I missed the first segment, so I don't know why Doug is already so mad.
Because John disagreed with me.
Oh,
well, yeah, I know. There's a shocker. So did most of America, and he's still okay. All right, so Jim, we're Facebook friends, and I saw something you posted the other day about us living in a police state, and I thought, we should probably have him on to talk about the whole Ferguson thing, risking my friendship, but
wait, he actually said police state.
Am I wrong?
No, yeah.
Okay,
that was the word I used.
Okay, he said police state, and I'm sitting there going, I think I think that may have been a stretch. Okay, now let's recap the whole Ferguson thing. There's an issue with
Ferguson, Missouri.
Suburb
of St. Louis.
There were two African-American individuals walking down the street. Police came up. There was an altercation. One of the African-American individuals, the quote-unquote suspect, was shot several times. There's all kinds of issues, whether there was a struggle, whether they were actually robbery suspects. There's all kinds of things. But I keep coming back to one very simple point.
Well, then, for folks not familiar with the story, keep going as far as...
then there's been all kinds of riots, and it's turned into basically a big mess.
And looting.
Oh, don't even...
And to be clear, there's some new information within the last hour.
Right.
That I'm not sure if you guys have discussed, and that is that they have surveillance video of the convenience store of someone taking 2 boxes of cigars, which, wow, that must have been some very good Swisher Sweets to be $50 worth.
Yeah, there was $50 worth of cigars.
Which was a full quarter of a mile away from where the person got shot and killed by a police officer, and they happened nearly in the same time.
Yeah, I think it's a little stretch.
And the responding officer, now we found out within the last hour, did not know that that person was a suspect in the robbery.
Yeah.
When he ventilated them with 8 to 10 shots, some of them in the back.
Yeah. Okay, but let's review. This is my biggest thing. You go back to the very first section of this, the very first part. You're walking down the street, a police officer pulls up and says, "Hey, get out of the street." You have an option at that point in time to say, "Okay," and you walk on the sidewalk, or you say, "No," and bad things happen. Right? Is anybody? You guys disagree with me? Why not just, okay, yes, officer, no problem?
I can only answer that by saying that I am a nearly 50-year-old white man who's lived in suburbia most of my life and do not have the experience of these people that live in that community who have said that from a minority community that they have been mistreated and harassed continually for 30-plus years.
Yeah.
And there's a pretty good history record showing that that's pretty true.
And that's the only answer to my question. A lot of times, to me, it's you capitulate with the police officers. They want you to don't even get me started. The two reporters that were arrested, New York Times reporters arrested in Ferguson. Oh my gosh! Well, yeah, that district of St. Louis has a requirement to show your ID upon request of a police officer.
Okay, and I would like to address that because I am a member of the journalism community for 30 years.
Right.
I am a freelance personnel. I travel the country, and I do not work for specifically staff for any of the networks. I do not have a press ID, and I have been in Hurricane Katrina,
Yeah,
I've been at gunpoint.
but you've been asked. If you were asked for your driver's license.
Yeah, Jimmy, you must have some ID.
Well, I have a driver's license, but that's specific for the what you're talking about is the press have to provide.
No. The law is that a police officer can ask you for your ID, and they didn't. They didn't present
a police officer can always ask you for your ID.
Not necessarily. They have to have probable cause in order to do that. In this particular instance, there's an actual statute that says the police officer can ask for your ID and you're required to show it.
Oh, without probable cause.
Without probable cause.
Oh, well, that's really easy. He wouldn't get my ID then.
Okay, so
he would get a question, sir, what's the probable cause for you asking me for my ID?
Oh, wait a minute. And why, sir? Why not you racist
I'm going to show him a modicum of respect. As long as he didn't just come flying down the street, cut in front of me, and almost run me and my partner, my friend who I'm walking down the middle of the street. Ooh, super dangerous me walking down the middle of a street.
You are kind of dangerous looking, but you're just saying that.
Yeah, I think that might be very close to the truth.
Looking. All right. So hang on, Doug's going to yell at you because I'm pretty much done.
Oh no!
I think at this point in time,
I'm nice and calm here.
All right, hey, can you hang on with us after the break? We got more of this stuff.
Sure.
All right, you're listening to Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John on AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Clarita's hometown station. We'll be back. Hopefully, Doug will wake up.
Hello, everybody. We are back on Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS. It's the Santa Clarita Gazette. What is the show? The Gazette Radio Hour. It's wild, Doug.
You must be really riled up. Are you still asleep?
It is the Gazette Radio Hour with Doug and John. It is the radio digest version of the Santa Clarita Gazette and Free Classifieds for you just joining us. All you need to know to be in the know.
And what station are we on? I do that too.
I did that already.
I'm just making
Santa Clarita's hometown station, AM-1220 KHTS.
I'm just making sure you're awake. We have our apparent thorn in your side, Jim, on the line. One of my good friends. Now, Jim, Doug's been sitting here seething through the.
I haven't been seething.
He doesn't seethe. You're right. He's saying your views are too extreme. He's going to explain now.
No, I don't. If extreme is the right word, I just want we are relying on kind of hearsay evidence throughout this whole thing. You know, we're hearing this, we're hearing that. You know, I think before we rush to complete judgment, and, you know, this policeman very well may have done something terrible that he shouldn't have done. If so, let's let the court of law bear that out. And all this jumping to the conclusion, just not you, Jim, but it's the whole media frenzy over this thing. I just think it's a little bit misplaced. Why are we getting so worked up over this? I hate it that the kid died. That's a tragedy in and of itself. But how many kids across the United States died the same day? How many that day died in Chicago from getting shot from other gang members? You know, we have so much going on in this world, in our country, with just terrible problems that really affect millions of people. And I just think, you know, you and the left are just overreacting to this.
Wow, you and
I can answer your question, why we're reacting this way.
It's one instance, Jim. It's one isolated incident. Why is the whole nation getting so wrapped up on one isolated instance?
If that was true, you would be 100% correct. However, we just saw NYPD chokehold a man to death.
But, Jim, that happens all over the place.
We just saw our police officers here in Los Angeles put bullets in a guy who was laying on the ground.
Jim, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, Jim. Jim, let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question, sir. Have you ever been on a police beat? Have you ever been in a situation where you got somebody that's threatening you, and you got a wife and kids at home, and you have no idea what the guy's going to do, and you're worried about your family at home? You have no idea how you would react.
I have been, within the last 3 months, with LAPD on a ride-along in downtown.
I'm talking about you. If you were physically assaulted by one of these guys, how would you react?
Under threat. I've been with a gunpoint in Louisiana during Hurricane Katrina from our own servicemen, M16s pointing at me. Yes, I have been under all of those.
Okay, so
I've been attacked by crowds. I've been in all of those situations.
And you're saying that you would react perfectly and all. You would never do something you regret.
Does not. I don't need to punch out a 60-year-old woman in the middle of a freeway, especially when I am sworn peace officer.
Okay, so wait a minute.
Oh, wait, Eric Holder swore to uphold the law, and he's not upholding the law. How come you don't talk about that?
Doug, stop. Okay?
No.
Jim, you're our guest. I apologize for Doug because he's being ridiculous. All right?
I'm not being
But I have a question for you.
This is an idiotic conversation.
Then leave. Okay? Do you think it's a systemic problem, or do you think it's isolated instances that just kind of coincide at the same time?
Well, I mean, it's pretty systemic when you look at the fact that we have $500,000 MRAPs in a small city that and has scoped M16s in paramilitary sitting on the top of it. What do you need that for? Is the cartel running Ferguson?
Well, I don't. That's just it. Are you saying that it's so? Do we throw out the bathwater, the baby with the bathwater? Is it all bad? All police are bad? Because that's what it seems to be now.
No, absolutely not. I have great police officer friends. I counted on police officers while I'm on a ride along with LAPD to hopefully make sure I don't get killed. But you know what? I signed a waiver before I went with them saying, yeah, I knew the danger.
But so then,
I know the danger. Majority of police officers are awesome folks. They want to protect people.
So why are we going crazy over a bad apple, though?
Yeah,
every organization has bad apples. There's bad apples in my company, anywhere I've ever worked.
I can explain it very simply. On 9/11, we had a lot of people that said the Muslims, the majority of Muslims are God-fearing, not extremists, and people lost their mind because they wanted them to stand up and scream from the rooftops, "This is not right." And when they wouldn't do it, they got condemned for it. If the police unions and everybody else on police forces stood up on the rooftops and said, "This is wrong," like that.
Okay, but
the state police chief that came down into Ferguson yesterday and quelled all this, he said, "No, this is not right."
It doesn't seem right, but why would you do that before you've completely investigated? I mean, I don't. If they have something to hide, the way that they're doing it is absolutely wrong. But if they don't have something to hide, being a legal mind, you've got to sit there and go, okay, I'm not going to release facts until I can prove the facts. If I've got to set up a case where I'm going to bring this guy to justice, and you and I are both defenders of the Constitution, I'm not going to rush to judgment. The dude is innocent until proven guilty, right? Constitution.
The police department is a public department. They work for us.
But the individual is innocent until proven guilty. Okay,
so then that person's attorney is responsible for making sure that evidence to protect them is protected. It's not the job of the police chief.
And as a public institution, do I really want the police to sit there and say, "Hey, we should hang this guy. He's guilty," and then come to find out, "Oh, wait a minute, we were wrong." I want a complete and thorough investigation.
Why did it take 5 days to miraculously find out that there was a suspect of stealing cigars?
Okay, let me ask you the same question a different way. Why did it take Why are we complaining that it took 5 days for them to completely, thoroughly investigate the entire incident?
Because they release information like that normally within hours of any shooting.
Given the enormity of the situation and the looting, which I can't even understand.
The situation within hours on Saturday. It didn't blow up till Sunday night. It happened on Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, and it took them some time to investigate. I don't have too much of a problem with it if. Suppose they come out and they go, "Oh my gosh, this guy is wrong. He's going to be prosecuted to the fullest intent of the law." Then what are people going to say? Yay, we win?
Nobody wins in this.
Exactly.
That's the problem.
That's what I don't understand. That's why
the only way to win is to learn and make sure this stuff stops happening. The problem is that the kids that are getting shot on the streets in Chicago are being shot by bad guys. Police officers are supposed to be the good guys.
Jim, I agree with you, but why don't we make a big deal out of that? How come there's not this huge media and you calling us on this show and talking about that and trying to get to the bottom of that? How come the president doesn't talk about that?
What do you want CNN to do? They've done.
Well, it's not what I want CNN to do. It's what I want the president to do. So what do I want the president to talk about? Has he ever come on and talked about what goes on in Chicago? It's his hometown, for crying out loud.
He certainly has. He's addressed it numerous times. That's one of the things that I don't like about left versus right, liberal versus Democrat. They make blanket statements saying so-and-so never does this. And then when it's their side, they say, "Oh, you're being unfair to our guy." I had this the other day with a friend of mine who said, the media never talks about Benghazi. Man, don't make a dumb statement like that, because all I have to do is go to the internet and flood your Facebook page with every single story that ABC, NBC, CBS, MSNBC, CNN, News, and Fox News have done over the years. And she was like angry with me for being right.
Okay, well, let me ask you
All
this.
these things are talked about.
Jim,
we talk about these things endlessly. We have a 24-hour news cycle that has to be filled.
Are you familiar with a Marine that's in prison in Mexico?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, I am.
Why hasn't Obama come out and made one mention of that?
He has made mention. Oh, man.
He has not, Jim. Google it. He has not.
Yeah, there was actually a story today that came out. Now it was a liberal press, but I mean a conservative newspaper, but it did say that Obama hasn't said word one about it. He hasn't done anything to help.
Okay.
So it's a little weird. It's a little weird.
I'll dig into it, and
right.
I'll be more than happy to admit that if I find that to be true, then okay. But I'm gonna.
Yeah, it's
Take a look. It's shocking to me.
Like I said, I like your views because they're first of all, they're founded in the Constitution, they're founded on the Constitution, which I like. Okay, I'm not so sure it's a systemic problem. I think we have a slight difference of opinion there, and we'll take Doug out of the equation.
Slight.
But I think that there's some issues that the whole bad apple thing. I think there's some stuff there. And then I hate rushing to judgment. I hate the fact that people, somebody died, let's loot. I need a new TV and some rims.
That's the stupidest thing in the world.
It drives me nuts. So I think what we'll do is if it's okay with you, we'll have you back on once the facts get a little bit more developed and how this plays out. And then we can talk to you about healthcare, because I'm sure Doug will probably want to yell at you about that some more.
Jim, we do appreciate your time. Thanks for putting up with us, or me.
Yeah,
no problem. Let's have that Second Amendment discussion right now, because all those anti-Second Amendment people, maybe you want to start thinking about it when you start facing M16 scopes in your backyard.
All right. Thanks, Jim. That was Jim, our thorn in the side for Doug. You're listening to the Gazette Radio Hour with AM-1220 KHTS, Santa Clarita's hometown station. We'll be right back.